Here we are.
There we are. Welcome to Over 50 Starting Over, everyone. I'm Merle Garrison.
And I'm Barry Edwards.
Keep you on your toes. Hey, buddy,
awesome.
how are you doing in this December holiday season?
Hey, I'm doing great during this December holiday season and feeling really good. Here I am in Phoenix, Arizona, and I love the weather this time of the year. And I got to tell you, I'm actually starting to feel the Christmas spirit out here, Barry.
Me too. Me too. I wanted to talk a little bit.
It's a wonderful thing. Look, I haven't felt that feeling, and I don't even know how long. And
well, I want to ask you something because we talked the other day off camera a bit. You alluded to the fact that fact, because in the past you told me about, in sales, you've been always you're back up against the wall at the end of the year that you could never enjoy Christmas. So what is it different about this year?
Okay, well, here's the business that I've normally been in, it heats up to the very end of the year. And there's been times where on even New Year's Eve, I was working until almost midnight trying to get a contract in. Everyone's trying to get those, publicly traded companies are trying to get those numbers in before the end of the fiscal year, because that's going to make a big difference for the next year. So that I've always been caught up in that. The last 2 years in a row working for the company that I work for, they have exceeded their numbers that they promised to Wall Street. Last year, they exceeded the number before December, which actually made the December very nice. There wasn't that last week of the month where everybody was super stressed. Mm-hmm. Everybody was planning for the next year, which was great. People took time off and everything. I never got to take time off during those holidays. This year, our number was much bigger. And we hit our number right when the quarter started. We pretty much hit our number for the whole year. So now we're all in planning mode for next year. We're getting all of our stuff together. I'm getting I have a 2024 plan I've been putting together that I'm excited about. Everybody's excited. And this is how you do it. I mean, I want to do this same thing every year where we can of it. And then the holidays actually become fun. But that's not the only thing that's causing the holiday to be special. I feel like so many good things have happened for me and my family over the last couple of years, and specifically for me and Anne Reese since we moved to Phoenix. I mean, I moved here in the midst of COVID and I didn't have a job, which was a crazy thing to do. And now I have employment. I have things that I'm doing on the side that I really enjoy doing. And I'm, doing some side stuff for Black Ops Partners as well, and working another podcast with Rex Lee on freedom of speech. And just really, I've got the 2 motorcycles now. And I had that ride with Scott I was telling you about last week, and having the whole family out here. But Barry, I went to this thing last Saturday. Anne Marie wanted to go Christmas shopping, and we had a plan to go shopping on Saturday morning. And, hey, it's a necessary thing we got to do and all. And Saturday morning came along, and I hate Christmas shopping. I'll just be honest. I do not like it. And it's really because of the frantic kind of thing that happens every holiday. You go into the mall and nobody cares about it. It's certainly not the Christmassy kind of spirit. Everybody's trying to get theirs. I've never had my feet stepped on so many times, and nobody says sorry and that kind of thing. And it's frustrating. And every time I'd have to go to the mall, it'd be like a frustrating, irritating experience. So that's what I was thinking I was in store for this Saturday. Anne Marie was excited because it was like an open air thing, and it's outside and tents, there's going to be all these tents and everything. And at the last second I said, hey, why don't we take the motorcycle out and we'll ride up there? So that's how it started. Anne Marie was game for that. She got on the back of the motorcycle, and I heard her. It was a beautiful day. First off, it was like 70, maybe 68 degrees outside, crisp, beautiful. Couldn't have been better. No wind. And about halfway there, I was accelerating off of the line, and you could feel the G-force, and I heard her back there go, yeah, which was awesome to hear that. And I knew she was having fun back there. We get to the place. It's just the perfect weather out there. I saw so many people. I love to people watch, but I just saw so many people that were in casual mode. They weren't in frantic mode. They were outside in the sunshine. They were smiling at each other. Every vendor I went to ended up having a great conversation with. One of them was showing me her kids and talking. We were having heart to heart conversations. This was
Mm-hmm.
more about just the season and the spirit of the season than this consumerism kind of thing. Although we were buying things, but it was Barry. At one point, I just became overjoyed with just happiness because I realized that I'm in a perfect spot right now. I've got friends and family all around me. I live in a place where people look you in the eye and want to know you and shake your hand, and they're willing to open up about their own personal lives and share with you. There was a woman there that was singing. She had the voice of an angel. It was one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in a Christmas setting ever. And later that day, my parents are in town and we do a Bible study every 2 weeks. My mom runs, and they decided to do the Bible study at my house. And we have about 10 or 15 people that normally join from all over the country. It's pretty cool. My mom does a great job of running this. And, but I got to be, sitting next to my mom. She's hosting it. Larry was here too. He had another computer in here in this
Your
office.
stepfather, yeah,
Yeah, and he you should have seen his background with the bookcase and everything. It looked so professional. It was like a talk show almost that everybody got to be a part of. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, Saturday was one of the best days of my life. I mean, I would relive that day over and over and over again and never get tired of it because, I mean, it was the best life has to offer. And just, the love of family all around and community at this time of the year. I wish it was like that all of my life, but I'm so happy that it's like that now. And anyway, so Merry Christmas, man.
yeah. Merry Christmas. So I do like this time of year a great deal. My favorite part is the kickoff, which is Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. My favorite holiday.
Me too.
By
It is
far.
mine too.
Mine and Lisa's, and we just have such a good time, and we have the best food. It did not disappoint this year. And now at this time of year in December, I really, this is going to sound funny, I really like working this time of year because I can concentrate on this. I love what I do. That's first of all.
That's
And
really
so
important.
I can concentrate on what I like doing the most with the least amount of interruptions because no one's available. No one's calling. Not many people are emailing and stuff. And so I work on what I want to do at my own pace. And right now it's a lot of video tutorials, video that I've shot. And now I'm putting different graphic effects over top of 5 hours worth. I'm really enjoying this. And back up to what you said about going out and enjoying the social climate of it all. I used to go out. Now, see, first of all, I'll say unless you have kids, young kids, Christmas is for young kids, as far as I'm concerned. The presents and all. When you got to buy for adults, it's a drag. It's stressful. Like
That
you're
is the
buying
stressful
crap.
thing.
Yeah, that they don't need. You don't need. You're going to receive stuff, have to have a fake smile, knowing that you're going to store this in your closet for 5 years before you feel like you can throw it away. And it's all worthless. I've been trying to get my family to do 100% no presents for the last 15 years, and it never seems to 100% work out. So there's that. But that's just an aside. But I'll say to what you said, so some years ago, just 5+ years ago, before Amazon took over everything, I used to like to go out on the days before Christmas, just get my shopping out of the way, the 3 presents I needed or whatever, like boom, kick it out. And then I used to like to, after that stress was over, just walk around those malls and soak up the atmosphere.
Yes.
Sometimes I would go to a restaurant and get a steak and a drink, like a bourbon or something,
Yeah.
really treat
Yeah.
myself, and
Yeah.
then go back out and just soak up the rest of it. And I really enjoyed that. But now malls are not what they used to be.
No.
And they suck now. So
They
that's
do. I
over with.
agree. That's what I don't like. And it's funny, on that very day, I had to go into one of the department stores, and I immediately, like, the whole mood shifted. Everyone was in my way. It was industrial lighting in there, which is a bummer and
Yeah.
depressing. And but then as soon as I got out of there, because I only went in there to use the restroom, but as soon as I got out of there, I was so happy again. And maybe that had a lot to do with it. I mean, growing up in Cleveland and experiencing winter time, and you and I have talked about this, and this being the kickoff to a long gray period also had an impact on my, just kind of the emotional status I had during this time. And so I don't know, it's a little different down here, and I'm very much appreciating it.
Good. So what I just got back from, literally an hour ago, less than that, is I just went out to a late lunch with one of my oldest clients who just retired and closed up shop. So bittersweet, but we would go out to a late lunch, have beers and lunch or dinner, whatever you want to call it, happy hour, all the time. And we're very dear friends. But I found that over the last few years, I've had a lot of clients retire on me. I never expected that, but I never thought about it. As a reality. It's been happening like crazy. And this one, though, is a particularly personal, close friend, good client. It's very sad. But at the same time, we got do this like December Christmassy kind of thing. So I've really enjoyed it and just wanted to say that. And so during this December time, I know a lot of us are extremely busy. Some of us have Christmas parties we don't want to go to or whatever. But I just say, soak up that. Most people are on a little bit better behavior than usual, and enjoy that and soak it up. On the other hand, I want to tell you that for this lunch, I had a double hamburger and French fries with extra crispy bacon on it, and I ordered mushrooms on it.
Oh my gosh, my favorites.
I'm so full on the one hand. But on the other, I wanted to tell you that I had a new happy hour spot out here that I discovered, which is a basic, I don't want to say hole in the wall, but neighborhood kind of bar with a really great vibe and everything. Mm-hmm. But then in an okay food menu. And when I was there the last time, I went to order a hamburger. They're supposed to be known for their hamburgers. And it was, $14 for a hamburger. Okay. I ordered it, and she's like, nothing. She goes, I just need to tell you, people seem surprised. Nothing comes with that. Would you like fries for $4.50 extra?
Wow.
And I went, no, I'll change my order. And I went to a quesadilla, which was just fine. My point is, I've seen this going on since all of the inflation stuff, and everybody's trying to find their way to price gouge.
Yes.
$4.50 for a potato is crazy. So
it's
I would have been $18.50 for a hamburger and fries. No, I'm not doing it. And if the rest of you listening think that's not so bad. Well, if you think that, then you're participating in this demise. And I suggest that you don't, because if you don't, those prices will come down.
Man, I had an $18 hamburger the other day. I mean, $18. And I was thinking, I hope this tastes like an $18 hamburger, but it tasted like a $7 hamburger, which is what the price should have been.
Right.
I mean, it's like, that wasn't $18 worth of hamburger right there. I thought it was going to be like this huge burger, but it was a normal burger. And it's just crazy. you remember, Barry, we were talking when Bill Gates came out and said
Yeah.
that America should move to synthetic meats. And oh,
Mhm.
by the way, he had two synthetic meat companies all ready to go,
Right.
Beyond Burger and the other one, and Impossible. And I said, this guy's going
Stuff
to
is
try
not
to.
good for you.
Yeah, no, and the more information that comes out on this is some pretty horrible
Because
stuff.
it has seed oil in it. So that right there, it's not good. I wanted to do a little bit more talking about, but I wanted to say on the bright side. So we went to, me and my clients, we just got back from the Winking Lizard out here.
Oh, I love the Winking Lizard.
Where on the menu I saw it was a $13 double burger.
13, nice.
Like two half-pound burgers or whatever with fries, and they have steak fries, not frozen fries.
Right.
And no, it was really good. I'm so full and I feel like a glutton. It's that time of year where, dude, it's probably a Northern Cleveland thing, where, as it gets cold this time of year, I crave food. Like I crave putting on weight, it seems. And I think it's biologic because your body wants some insulation.
I think you're right about that.
I think,
right?
yeah.
Well, and then there's the other thing is that it gets so dark so early and it gets so cold outside that, what else do you have to do except for, hey, I got a good idea. Let's eat this. And I always gained weight over the winter time, and you don't want to go out and do, hey, let's go on a bike ride. No, you're not doing that.
Right.
It's all those outdoor things you would do after you got done with work. You don't want to do that. And the thing here too, Barry, is it gets dark here a lot earlier than because of where we are in the time zone and everything. And so around 4:30, it's getting dark outside right now.
Right. Sure.
And then it seems like it'll be 7:00, and Anne Marie and I are thinking it's like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
What time
it takes
is
a
it?
while
It's
to adjust to that.
Well, it's really late. It's 8:00.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
My buddy JT just called me like yesterday. We were talking about how he brought up, I used to always bring up, the winter solstice is coming up in 2 weeks. We used to, me, him, and Dan used to go out and have beers on the winter solstice every year to celebrate that the days are going to start getting longer.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, because that is what happens. It gets longer and longer. My dad's birthday is during the winter solstice, and I thought, what a bummer time to have a birthday right before Christmas.
But the problem with it is, the problem with it is that, as I told JT, I do not notice the days getting longer until February 1st. I notice because they only get longer by like a minute, and then a minute and a half, and then 2 minutes. I mean, it takes a while to ramp up.
I agree. I've had years though where I needed to, I'd like look at it, like, wait a second, it's rising. The sun's rising 1 minute earlier than yesterday. It's happening.
Right. Right.
So you could look at that a couple of different ways.
But I wanted to say, okay, so I'd found in the past, I don't know why this is, but I had found in the past that literally by September, at the latest October, my appetite would increase. And I would always recognize it as my body wants to put on some weight.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's a survival mechanism.
It did not happen this year. Like I've gone through, like I've gone through a lot of dietary kind of lifestyle changes in the last couple of years. I started doing the intermittent. I did the fasting.
Right.
Then I did the intermittent fasting. Then I found the intermittent fasting wasn't working after about a year. So I changed that up about 6 months ago to just doing smaller meals. And I had been doing great. And it's not been until just the last week that I feel like I've been ravenously hungry. And so that's December. So, okay, that's good. So, but I don't want to go back and put on 10 pounds.
Yeah, right.
And so I wanted to share. I wanted to share some tips here. And I thought this was
good. Okay.
Yeah. And this kind of works for me. Okay, this is called protein, fiber, nourishing fats, nut butters have it going on. I'm a big fan of almond butter, by the way. Okay, so there's a world of nutritious, delicious nut butters out there beyond the children's classic peanut butter, which I love too.
Oh, me too.
For an excellent snack, try celery sticks with almond, walnut, or cashew butter. Absolutely agree with that one.
Wow.
And across the board, tree nuts and nut butters are a super source of nutritious fats, fiber, and vitamins and minerals, says Cleveland Clinic nutritionist Amy Gibbs, RD. Cases in point. Walnut is really good for you. Walnut butter boosts lots of omega-3 fatty acids, and almond butter is a go-to for vitamin E. These are other nutritious elements that can make a big difference for health by 1, cutting heart disease risk, 2, reducing belly fat accumulation, and 3, help control diabetes. Those are 3 really big, important reasons. So I just want to stress again, maybe
those are the big ones, man. Yeah,
those are the big ones. So get off the peanut butter, especially the processed commercial peanut butters.
The other stuff tastes better anyhow.
The natural, you mean?
Yes.
After you get used to it, it tastes a lot better. But when you make the first switch, you're like, no, this is terrible. You know,
I don't like that you have to stir it.
Oh God. You know what I do?
Peanut butter oil goes all over.
I always have, my one I'm working on, I always have one as a backup, and I turn
that's
it
a good
upside
idea.
down.
Yeah.
And then if I think about it, then a couple of days later, I turn it back. I keep flipping it back until I'm ready to use it.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Great tip. That's a great tip.
Yeah. I'm a pro at this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, first, I love natural peanut butter. I really do. But I absolutely love almond butter too. I mean, I suggest keeping both on hand because they're kind of different. But they're very healthy for you. Let me just read a little bit more of this. If you anytime.
Yeah, you go ahead. No, go ahead. This is
look
good.
for products that contain. Look for products that contain simple ingredients, preferably just nuts and perhaps salt. That is the best way to go. Steer clear of nut butters that contain added sugar, palm oils, or hydrogenated oils. I'm going to tell you,
I've heard bad things about the hydrogenated oils.
It's seed oils that you really got to avoid. And when you think of seed oils, what is that? It's canola, palm oil, rapeseed oil, grapeseed, all of those different seeds. They're really horrible for you. And I'm going to tell you that those things originated as a byproduct of, and this is an aside here, but as a byproduct of taking grapes or whatever, using them for food source, and you'd have all these seeds left over they could easily make oil out of. So they were using them for industrial lubricants. Well, of course, food industry people found that to be so cheap that they could use that to fry stuff in their foods. And but it's horrible for you, absolutely horrible for you. So avoid the seed oils. Just wanted to mention that.
Good fact.
Yeah. Skip the reduced fat nut butters. Skip reduced fat everything, by the way. That was a misnomer. Yeah, it's a trick. Total trick. Okay, which often
fat-free is, even look at fat-free stuff, because what did they substitute
for? Sugar, in all the various forms of sugar.
Yes, all the fake sugars that are out there, they're terrible for you. They lead to diabetes, and it leads to the big 3 that you just mentioned.
That is absolutely true.
Diabetes.
And our bodies don't know how to metabolize that crap. That's the problem.
They can't.
That's why the obesity problem.
It's not actually food.
There you go. There you go.
That's the problem.
Go ahead, Barry. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I mean, now it's so important for us to understand what we're eating, because of there more and more, there are things that are being added to our foods that are detrimental to our health. And we've got to really pay attention to this kind of thing. And we saw over the last few years where obesity would be the number one cause of us contracting some kind of killer virus or something like that. So we've got to really be watching our weight and paying attention to that. And I was thinking before I lost my weight that in order to lose weight, I was going to have to live a torturous lifestyle. And that's just not the truth. And there are ways to be able to to maneuver through this whole thing, stay healthy. And on your doctor appointments, and they do the blood test, you'll see all your numbers moving into the proper places, your blood pressure, all those things. You can do it. And there are programs out there to help. And if you need help finding a program, we can help you with that too.
Absolutely. And I just want to ask you briefly, Merle, have you noticed an improvement in your mood and cognitive function?
Absolutely. Mood first and foremost. I think I mentioned to you that I was doing the intermittent fasting beforehand. And what I did not really realize was that I was suffering from a low blood sugar problem, which which is exactly why I got such a bad reputation when I was hungry, as you know. And there is another Merle that none of you want to know. I don't even like him. And it was because of low blood sugar. So when I got onto the Optavia plan and I was eating 5+ meals a day, all that went away. And I became a much nicer guy, ask my wife. And so, yeah, that helped. Now, as far as the cognitive piece goes, I don't notice a difference there. But there are other things that I noticed. One of them is you were talking about almond butter, but you are the one that turned me on to almond milk. And I didn't think I was going to like it, but I do. And it took a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah. But then you go back and it's like,
I left dairy. Okay. And I always was a big believer in, milk does a body good and all this kind of stuff. I don't believe that anymore. And by the way, I was getting all this stuff in the back of my throat. So I was constantly having to clear my throat all the time.
I know. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
I hated that. And boy,
I do that. That happens to me if I eat too much cheese as well.
Same. And I don't like that either. And I also was putting cream in my coffee, and I drink coffee all day. I personally think, because I was using that fake creamer stuff.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, hydrogenated oils. Yeah.
I think that was a major cause of all the weight that I was picking up and everything. And so now I don't put anything in my coffee. I trained myself how to appreciate black coffee, and I love it now. It wasn't an overnight thing though, Barry.
Let me ask you,
a couple months for me to get used to.
For sure. That. I totally understand that. I can drink black coffee when I'm out of everything, but I switched over to the almond milk in my coffee. Why do you not put almond milk in your coffee?
I didn't like it because I think the reason I really liked any kind of cream in my coffee was because it was coming along with a whole bunch of sugar. And that's what it was. It was
very honest of you.
Stuff, and I was putting that in there, and the sugar and the cream together was good. But if I were to put cream in my coffee without anything else, it didn't really do anything for me. So that's what I discovered was really just start appreciating the actual coffee. And that's really what I did. And I really started to love it. In fact, I mean, I'm having an Nespresso right now with nothing in it. And
okay, so for you, it's 4:00 by now, 4:30 in the afternoon.
I love
it
coffee
would keep
so
me. Yeah,
much.
me too. But it would keep me up the rest of the night. My cutoff point at the latest for me is 3:00 in the afternoon.
Some people are like that. Unfortunately for me, I could have a cup of coffee at night and go right to sleep. My stepfather tells this story about how we were on this road trip, he and I and my stepbrother Jason, and we were in North Carolina. We were going to have to, it was midnight, and we are going to drive all the way back to Ohio that night. And I said, Larry was driving. I said, Larry, I'm not a good passenger, and I can't sleep in the car when somebody else is driving. I'm kind of nervous like that. So I'll be up, but let's just stop and get a cup of coffee. And we stopped, and I got one of those 32-ounce coffees, and I drank it, and Larry was driving. I passed out after that. Next thing I knew, the sun was coming up, and I woke up, and Jason was driving. And I was like, "Where's Larry? You're only 15. Why are you driving?" And Larry, that was like 20 years ago. Larry's been making fun of me ever since then about, "Oh, you want some coffee, Merle?"
Wow.
Go to sleep. Here's some coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let
That's
me finish this up.
Yeah, go ahead. And I got
Okay.
something for you right after this
Oh,
too.
good. I'm
And I need
almost
you to
done.
let me share the screen too.
Okay. Let me do that right now while I'm thinking about where is that thing. Okay, and you are ready. Okay, so skip the reduced fat things and replace it with nutritious fats with sugar, natural sugar, or other fillers. If you have a high power blender, you can make your own. You can make your own nut butter from walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, almonds, or hazelnuts, or try a combo. So uses: added to homemade muffins, pancakes, yum. Blended into smoothies, that's probably a good way to go. Or add a dollop to a baked sweet potato. That's very interesting right there. Try blending some nut butter into Greek yogurt, yes, for breakfast, or a fruit and veggie dipping sauce. Yes, Lisa's all into both of those. Let's just go from there over to you. What did you have?
This is actually changing the subject, so I didn't want to change the subject. Okay, well, I wanted to follow up on some feedback that we've gotten from some of our listeners.
Nice.
And let me just share this screen here. Okay, so last week we were talking about how we had forgotten, possibly we're terrible window washers. And I thought I was a terrible window washer because I just got done cleaning my windows outside before my parents got in, and I was feeling all good about that. And just before they showed up, the sun was shining in our back windows, and it was all streaked up. And Marie was like,
"Terrible.
Didn't you wash the windows?" And I said, "Yeah." And Barry, I was 100% positive that they were washed. Like I double checked, I triple checked, but then when the sun shined through it was terrible.
I know exactly what you mean.
We mentioned this on the show last week, and one of our listeners, Mo, got to us and said, "I have a solution for your window and mirror streaks. I just learned about these when a friend helped me wash all 31 windows this fall.
Oh my God.
They really work with water only and are machine washable, then hang to dry." So you take a look at this. These come with like 5 cloths in them each. They are good for stoves, computers, TVs, mirrors, cars, rims, plastic, granite. They are wet it, wring it, wipe it, surface, a streak-free, spot-free, lint-free, absolutely positively never streaks glass, mirrors, or windows. Never use window cleaner again. Well, that sounds pretty good. So order this from Amazon. You can order K-Was cloth from
Say
Amazon.
again? I'm sorry, say again.
It's K-Was, Kaywos. You can get this on Amazon. They're cloths. I got the 2 sets for like $17, and it was free. I'm sorry, $23, and it was free shipping. I should get that next week. And by the way, I have my kids coming to visit next week, so I'll have a chance to put it to use. And next time we do a podcast, I'll let you know how it worked out.
All right. Yeah, I would like to know because, dude, so like I told Lisa the other day, she's always dogging me, like she thinks because she's such an obsessive cleaner in this house and everything. And I'm like, look, I'll take this off your hands. Oh, you? No way. And I said to her the other day, kind of had this forethought. I'm like, you do realize that I'm a professional cleaner. I get paid to do it, and I get rated on it. And she's like, "What?" I do, because I got that Airbnb house. I have to clean that. I do it myself, and I get rated on it. So I picked up on
go ahead and tell me what your rating is.
Oh, it's usually it can vary by person, but it's around 5.0, 5 out of 5. But I'm going to tell you, man, straight up, that window thing is a problem for me. Now, I know my mother used to say you got to use newspapers and vinegar, spray vinegar, use newspapers. I don't get a newspaper anymore. I haven't in many years.
So many people don't.
I think the microfiber cloth was a big thing for a while, but I don't know. I don't have one. I don't know where to get one. So maybe this is a good way to go. I sit there and I go between using like a cloth, like old t-shirt and paper towels, and none of that is working with
Yeah.
Windex. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
working.
It's like, is there something? Did they change the Windex formula or something?
No,
Because
I'm
we
quite
all use it.
sure it's the applicator.
I
I
think
think
you're right. I will give you all a report on how
I want to
things
know.
go on this, because this is important.
I want
This
to
is
know.
important stuff, because this is one of the life's questions, right? How come I can't get the window clean? Here's another one that we had from Mao's America and Commercialized Heaven. I really liked that episode, by the way. We did that on November 28th, I think it was, but got a
Yeah,
couple of comments on this one. Paul says, hi Merle, great podcast, Mao and Upload. And I really like talking about that. Best hour so far today, best hour spent so far today. And I'm
that's
so
so
glad you're
nice.
feeling better. But
And
then
by the
Wendy,
way, when he said upload, he's referring to that TV show that we were talking about.
and then Wendy comes in and she says, they all are, speaking of the best shows out there.
Nice.
They are great. So thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Paul, and thank you, Mo, for weighing in. And we love to get your comments, by the way, and we'd
Me
love to
too.
get your comments today. So
Yes.
just
Yes.
put it on pause, put something out there that you like or whatever. We want to hear it. Is there what other ways can they weigh in, Barry?
Geez, go to over50startingover.com and just go to that particular episode, leave a comment there. On our YouTube videos, you can leave it right there. Merle, I told you about, we had a comment just a few days ago. Someone, she said, and I'm sorry, I don't have it up. I wasn't prepared, but she said, just discovered you guys. And it was like episode 5.12 or something. So it was an older episode. I don't think that she realized that, but she goes, just discovered you guys. You guys had the best chemistry. Really enjoy the show. Can't wait for the next episode. No, little does she know there was about 70 episodes after or something. By the way, we're approaching 250.
That's amazing.
I think this is going to be 246.
How about that? That is really something.
Yeah.
Hey, Barry, I don't know if you have your movies icon or not.
Oh, I don't.
I have a show that
I got one for you too.
I want to. This one's
give me a second.
Okay.
Talk for a minute. Waste some time.
Yeah, well, it's important during the holidays that we have good programming to watch. Especially if you're living in some place where it's freezing cold outside. You want to see some good stuff, and I got a good one here. This one had been recommended to me by my friend Chaz, and Chaz and Susan, as a matter of fact, who had told my wife and I that this show called Clarkson Farms was a really good series. It's on Prime. It's Clarkson Farms. It's a British television documentary series about Jeremy Clarkson. And Jeremy is famous in England. He had these two shows that he put together, and let's see if I can find the name of those shows. They're pretty cool. He majored in cars and race cars and different gear.
How do you major in race cars?
So I'm saying, like, not major where he went to school. That's his expertise. And he had this show where he's got a real charismatic personality, and he'd show all this gear on BBC. We don't know this guy, but when you see him on the show, his charisma jumps up. You like him right away. Here's the premise of the show. The series documents Clarkson's attempt at running a 1,000-acre farm in Cotswolds, England, and has received very large positive reviews.
Oh my God.
It's on Amazon Prime. It was one of the most watched shows on Prime in the UK. It's hilarious. So this guy knows nothing about farming. He's obviously got lots of money, and he bought this farm. And a few years after he bought it, the guy that was managing the farms for him, this 1,000 acres, there's all these different farms on the 1,000 acres, decides to retire. So rather than put somebody else in that knows what he's doing, Jeremy decides, I could just do that myself. This guy reminds you of Fraser Crane. He talks just like that guy with a voice and everything. And he thinks he's all that, but he's not. And just like Fraser on the show, where Fraser's constantly trying to be at this level, but he keeps getting the pegs knocked out from under him. And it's hilarious. That's how this is. And the guy is a great sport about the whole thing. And you could really relate to him. Just about everything that can go wrong does go wrong. But when things go right, this guy is over the top excited about it, and you're just so happy for him. It's a wonderful show. It's a 2-season series. There's another season that's coming out. I'm about 5 episodes into it, and it's just delightful. I highly recommend it if you want to just spend some time. If you like animals too, there's all kinds of animal stories and stuff. You'll end up liking this guy. You'll end up, if you've ever thought about owning a farm, you'll probably decide that you don't want to do that ever after watching this. Right. And it also gives you a lot of respect for what farmers actually go through and how hard this is.
Oh God,
it's unbelievable what these guys have to deal with. And highly recommend the show. Again, Clarkson Farm on Amazon Prime.
Cool. I got an Amazon Prime for you too. So by sheer chance, I picked up on this holiday movie last night. I think it was last night, and I finished it this morning. I thought Amazon Prime. Remember when I turned you on to that show, The Boys?
I loved that show.
Me too. Well,
that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it said that season 4 is coming out, so I clicked on it. Yeah, and they show this preview at season 4, and then in the little corner it says up next. So I click on that, thinking that okay, well that was the preview of the season, and here it comes. And apparently it was a whole different movie, but it was like in the spirit of The Boys with the crassness, the vileness.
Yeah.
And it's called Violent Night. And
Violent Night instead of Silent Night.
It was so it was such a surprise. I kept thinking it was going to turn into a Boys episode, and because it definitely had the same vibe. And I'm going to just try to show you. I hope this is the right page. This is the results page. Mm-hmm. And it stars, so it's a brand new movie starring David Harbour. And he's the guy who played in, his first claim to fame was, what was the name of that?
War of the Worlds?
No, that very popular show with the kids. Oh, crap. I wish I was better prepared
Boys
for
in
this.
the Hall?
No, so let's forget about that.
Okay.
But he plays the Santa Claus, a real life Santa Claus. Apparently there's more than one. But he's just he's so sick of it. And he's at a bar, he's drinking like crazy. And there's another Santa Claus over there. He's like, this is my last year. I'm so done with this. And I didn't know what was going on here. So he goes out, he gets with his reindeer, Dancer, Prancer, all of them. And he goes and starts delivering presents, and he goes to this gigantic estate with all these old rich woman's estate, and her greedy, shallow kids come for Christmas and are trying to kiss up to her and stuff. Well, as it turns out, it's about to be invaded by this very organized crime group that wants to rob this estate. And so the Santa, this down and out Santa that is very out of shape, out of everything, bad, depressed, blah, blah, blah. He's delivering presents there, and he sees this very old, beautiful bottle of liquor, and he's like, yeah, okay. So he's eating some cookies, and he starts drinking this bottle of liquor. He passes out.
Oh, okay.
Then all of these criminals descend on this estate. He wakes up, and he's like, what's going on here? And it's like this redemption story of how Santa comes back and slowly gets his groove back on, beats the crap out of all of these things. And dude, it's a good story. It's a good story
It
because
sounds actually like fun.
Wait,
What's the name of this again?
It's called Violent Night.
Violent
It's
Night.
new on Prime. You can watch it tonight. You'll find it easily.
That sounds like fun.
And I would highly recommend it. The fight scenes are incredible. They're funny. It's tongue in cheek and really good. It's so well done. And
that is so cool.
It's so well done. It'll make you cry at the end. I'll guarantee you it will.
Okay, well, that's great. That's good.
And you're going to feel a little ridiculous because you realize it's tongue in cheek, but you're still going to cry.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, Barry. Did you cry, Barry?
I did a little bit. Did a little bit. Got a little weepy. It was so well done, and
it's pretty cool.
But expect that it's in the like the vibe of the boys,
the boys, kind of tongue in cheek,
and gross.
You know what? This kind of reminds me of our conversation around Die Hard being a Christmas movie. And there's sort of a similar theme going on there. Bruce Willis wasn't Santa Claus, but he wasn't. He was just
very
happened
similar.
to be there, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
when those bad guys stormed in and did all that.
Well, you're right. It is very similar because what I said about that is it changed the action genre movie from there on, because here was a guy who just got caught. He was just out of the scene when all this shit went. All this stuff went down, and then and he was like realizing what was happening, and he was afraid, and he was coming to grips with it, and he came to grips with it, and he overcame it. Yeah, it's very much the same.
And there was a lot of humor actually in the movie along the way too. And Bruce Willis he had a great way about him with being the tough guy, but also being able to mix that in with humor. And it kind of reminds me
he was an every guy man.
Yeah, he was. And he was I remember when I first started seeing him, you're the guy that turned me on to him as an actor when we were we were living together, and we had to be home in time to see Moonlighting.
Oh, right. I almost forgot about that.
That was a great show.
It really was.
I forget the woman that he was in there with, but the two of them had
Sybil Shepherd.
They had great chemistry.
Right. But he was the one that broke out as a major star. She had animosity about that.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
I think that we should move on to current events.
Well, I had one other thing.
You go ahead and
that I want to cover here.
It's a holiday special.
We just had the passing of, I would say, a great American. Norman Lear passed away just this week, and you and I have talked about his shows that he put out and how wonderful they were, and how they kind of set the tone for our society back then. We had All in the Family, we had Sanford and Son, we had the Jeffersons, and many other shows that came out of that, which allowed us to be able to speak about racial differences and gender differences in a way that made it more comfortable, and we could laugh at ourselves, and we didn't have to take ourselves so seriously all the time.
I like where you're going.
He was bringing up very serious societal issues that were happening and have happened, but he just had a way of covering things so that you could see them in a sort of as a third party and see how ridiculous a lot of this stuff that we take so seriously is. I would say that he did great things for America as a society. He lived to be 101 years old.
I didn't know that.
I saw this great film about a year ago, and it was him and Mel Brooks. And Mel Brooks is about the same age now. They're both about 100 years old, and Mel Brooks was driving his Bentley at night, and he gets Norman on the phone, and he's like, "Norman, I'm coming over there to pick you up, and we're going out to have a drink." And as Norman, he's like, "I'll be right down with my top hat on." And he comes down there, and he gets in the car. The two of them are driving to the bar, and they both have big smiles on their faces, and but what they ended up talking about was how incredible it is that both of them are about 100 years old, and how all these people that they knew have passed away now, but they credited their longevity to laughter. And
Agreed.
that they had laughed their way through life. And you take a look at Mel Brooks, and you can see he had the same attitude. He did the same kinds of things. You look at Blazing Saddles and how he made a mockery of how ridiculous these different racial differences are, and how we can actually not take it so seriously and make fun of these things. And really, we all belong to the human race. And these two guys together really did a great job of putting that out there. We need more of those guys out there now.
Oh, buddy, I gotta reply to that. That got me right in the heart because of where we're at today, and with I always say the far left thing, which sounds divisive, but I don't know where else to put the blame about killing comedy. And you can't make a Blazing Saddles today, to say the least, without being lynched.
Couldn't.
Canceled. Right. Your life just in complete turmoil. And you just made so many good points about how throughout all of our known history that comedy was the way that you created a point where you're able to put something in a comedic spin to soften someone up, and then you can hit them with something a little bit heavier, and then they're susceptible to it. They're willing to process it at that point. Yes, it's genius,
and the world needs this. I mean, this is
now more than ever.
Yeah, and I mean, this is why the king had a court gesture. You know what I mean? It was this has been important throughout time and society. I just wanted to go through a couple of real quick. So, of course, we're at the end of the year, and we're thinking back and looking back. Norman Lear just passed away, but I just wanted to go through a couple of these people that we lost over the year. Rosalind Carter's one of them. We have the Sopranos, Susan Shepard. Boy, the band Kool and the Gang lost a couple of people this year. They lost George Funky Brown. He was the original member. He was the drummer there. Dana Carvey's son passed away this year.
Oh, right.
That was a pretty sad thing. Boy, a lot of young people are in here. This person was having she was getting some cosmetic surgery, and she had a heart attack.
Really?
There's quite a few stories like that.
Who's this young guy right there?
Yeah, he actually. Which one? This one here?
You just passed right there. Like, how did he pass? Who is he? How did he pass?
I didn't. I passed him because I didn't know who he was. He's Evan Ellingston. He played in My Sister's Keeper. Opposite.
He was Cameron 35.
Yeah, he was only 35. He looks a lot younger, right? But a lot of really young people. I mean, even a lot of people dying in their 50s in here. There was one of them again. This
Matthew
is a
Perry.
guy with General Hospital lost quite a few people this year, by the way. A lot of them young. Here's Matthew Perry, only 54.
Most
Richard
people's
Ball.
favorite friend.
I loved him.
We all
him
did
so
we
much.
all did.
And Richard Mall, he was on that night court.
I didn't know he passed away.
And look at him.
Oh, he
hair.
was 80 though. I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
he was 80. But look how different he looks with hair.
Yeah. He looks good. He
has great hair. Suzanne Summers, that was a real bummer. But she died on her 76th birthday.
Yeah, she lived a good life.
She, 76, it's not too bad to make it to 76, but some of these people, like this guy here, I don't know who he is. He was in this kind of NCIS, but he was 90 years old when he died. But it's interesting what his wife said to his daughter after this was all over. She says she is 79 and dad just turned 90. And she said that she was saying after returning from the hospital to their apartment, I asked my mother if she was okay before she went to bed, and her answer was simply yes, but I do wish we had a chance to grow old together. She's
Uh-huh.
79 and he's 90. And
Uh-huh.
she's saying that just
Uh-huh.
shows how much of a beautiful relationship their daily lives were. It wasn't enough for her. It wasn't over. They'd been married for like 55 years.
I love that,
Beautiful
and I love
story.
what she said here. Yes, but I do. Oh no, you said that part. You're scrolling
Yeah.
now. Said the honesty in that emotion shows how vibrant their beautiful relationship and daily lives were. That somehow, even at 90, Daddy never grew old.
Isn't that something?
That's
Isn't that
beautiful. That's beautiful.
that's a beautiful testament to a life well lived. Here's a lot of these people I don't know, but Jimmy Buffett,
I didn't know he passed.
yeah, 76 years old. He passed away just a couple months ago, just about a month ago, actually. And that's what's interesting is a lot of these people you don't realize passed away. This is a skater. She was only 31, got into a multi-vehicle accident.
What
that's
a
awful.
bummer.
Here's another 50-year-old. He's a rapper. They don't know how he died yet, but sad news. 50 is way too young to be going out. And then here is Sandra Bullock's boyfriend who died
I remember.
at 57. He had ALS. What a terrible disease that
Dude,
is.
what is ALS?
Well, what it does is it affects your muscles, and ALS. It's got a long title.
Oh, sure. I don't care about the title. I just wanted to know what it does.
But my cousin, I had two cousins that died of ALS. It's the worst thing ever. What it does is it
your body shuts down, right?
It's a nerve thing. It blocks your nerve endings so that you lose the ability to use certain parts of your body.
Right.
And it affects everybody a little bit. Like things shut down at different times. My one cousin, it was his he went to reach up to get something out of the cupboard and he realized he couldn't do it. He went to the doctor, found out he had ALS, and over the next couple of years, his whole body just shut down till he had to go on to a respirator, and then he finally went into a coma.
So there's no treating it?
No cure.
Oh my God.
It's horrible. And it doesn't impact your mind. So basically what happens is you're trapped inside of your body.
Yeah. And, that's a nightmare.
It's horrifying.
This guy's from Breaking Bad.
Right. He passed away. He was 83 years old, obviously very famous on that show.
Oh, yeah.
Another 25-year-old passing away here. A lot of these, they don't know exactly why.
It's drug related for sure.
A lot of them are drug related. Here's Paul Rubens as Pee Wee Herman passed away, 70 years old. He was battling cancer. Eagles guitarist passed away.
That one hurt me. That one hurt me.
Sinead O'Connor passed away. Tony Bennett, he lived a good long life. He was 97 and when he passed away. This woman, Coco Lee,
who's she?
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
No idea.
Sung that. She committed suicide. She was only 48. Alan Arkin passed away.
Oh, dude.
89.
This guy, when he played a lot of small parts in a lot of good movies, and when he would get on screen, he would steal it every time.
He really would.
Every time. I love
awesome
this guy.
Actor. I loved him too. This is Little Miss Sunshine right here. If you haven't seen that movie, that's a great movie, and he was outstanding in it.
Love that guy.
Now this guy, I don't know who he was because I never saw him, but he was a 600-pounder that lost all this weight, and on his 49th birthday, he died of a heart attack, which is
he probably was using
already had done damage to his body.
Oh, that could be. That could be.
Pounds.
Yeah,
I mean, that's gonna have a long last. Treat Williams died unexpectedly.
Know the name. Accident. Don't really know what he did.
Yeah, he was in quite a few movies, but I couldn't tell you.
I think like a lot of years ago.
Yeah, I don't know who this person. I might know any of these. No. Tina Turner.
She passed away.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Are in heaven now. Yep.
That's a passing of a legend, right there.
really is. It really is. That's a big one. She had been
Yeah.
battling a sickness for some time. She
Well,
was in
83 though. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
you know.
she's in heaven now. Another General Hospital star gone this year. So that's two right there.
Uh-huh.
Here's another person. She committed suicide. I don't know who
Don't
this
know
is,
her.
Heather Hamilton, but only 47 years old. Jerry Springer
Oh,
died this year. 79 years old. Bob Newhart's wife passed away. And
boy, Newhart
he's
looks
still
bad.
alive. Yeah,
Jeez. Okay.
I was surprised to find out that he was actually still alive. He's
Yeah.
93. Well, no, she was 93. But he's very old. Here's Len Goodman that was on Dancing with the
Dude,
Stars.
Newhart was old when we were kids.
He sure was, right? It's like you're still alive. Wow, that's really something. I don't know who Mark She. I guess he's the guitarist for the Script and
Okay.
several other people here. Let's see. I don't know this guy or that guy or that guy.
Or that guy.
I don't mean to do.
Or that
I think we're
guy or that
about
person.
done. Oh, Raquel Welch.
Oh,
She was
God, one of the most
82.
beautiful women ever. I didn't know
Absolutely.
she passed away.
I know. That's why I wanted to go through this.
Oh, she was such a beautiful woman.
Sharon Stone's brother passed away as well suddenly at age 57, and he had heart disease. Here's another rapper that went down, only 54 years old. Doesn't know how that guy died. I don't know who this guy is.
All right, you got a lot of people we don't know.
Cindy Williams. She was Shirley,
Laverne and
Shirley. I saw her on a Thanksgiving. We used to go out to this really great place and eat Thanksgiving, and the kids would come out there. And actually, one time, me and Anne Marie were there, and she was sitting right next to us. I wanted to say hi to her so badly. David Crosby, as you know, passed away as well this year. We're winding down here. Lisa Marie Presley. That was very sad. She was rushed to the hospital age 54. Another one that died of heart failure.
I think she just had a tragic life.
She lived a crazy life, that's for sure. Jeff Beck was 78.
Beck, legend.
Yep. I don't know these people. I don't know who Fred White. That's it. That's the end. But yeah, a lot of good people that
good share, man.
Went off to the other side, and my condolences to all of those families out there, but all of them had a very positive impact on my life. And, it's kind of crazy where you're seeing people that you saw as a kid growing up, and in your mind, like Suzanne Summers, she's forever young, but that's just not how life works. Everything is not for long. It's very temporary. It's a very temporal place we live in here.
Yeah, very true.
All right. So that was my things. I have a whole lot. I have way more than we could possibly cover here today.
Well, okay. I would be very interested to see where you want to go next. I'll mention one thing, because it kind of goes on the heels of you're kind of doing some kind of celebrity kind of stuff there. We've been kind of keeping it a little light here today, which I kind of like. It's kind of cool.
I don't mind going into current events. I got lots of stuff there too.
Whatever, but I just want to mention Taylor Swift is Time's Person of the Year. And I just, Lisa and I had this conversation in the car a couple of weeks ago. I was like, she's constantly in the news this year, and I couldn't name a single song that she does. I don't know anything about her. So I went on to YouTube. I'm not pulling anything up. I went on to YouTube and did a search, and I found this NPR concert that she did. I chose that one because it was intimate. It was just her with a guitar and a piano and about 50 people in a room. So very intimate, no auto-tune, no backup band to hide behind, all of that. It was beautiful, man. And it was not only just that, because I wanted to see, I heard of a lot of critiques that she doesn't really sing that well and all that.
I've never heard that.
I've heard it a lot. She's got a very pretty voice, and she is a talented songwriter.
That's what I've heard.
And even more so watching that interview, if you want to call it, or concert, whatever you want to call that. She's so comfortable in her own skin.
That's what must be attractive about her.
Especially to her audience, which is going to be younger women for the most part. So I get it. I applaud her. Hats off to her. Now, so what I said to Lisa just right before this podcast, I heard she got this Person of the Year. I'm like, has anyone on planet Earth ever had a better year than Taylor Swift has had in 2023? I mean, for the love of God.
That is a good question. I mean,
and that's all I got. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to recognize that.
It's interesting with Taylor on how the NFL picked her up, and
anybody would. If she said McDonald's in a interview, they would pick that up, and because she's that hot right now.
What I've heard is let's see here, that she puts on I don't know any of her songs either, but she puts on an awesome show. Many her shows are, how a lot of these bands, they come in, they perform for 90 minutes and they're out. She puts on like a 3-hour show. She plays like 60 songs, just to be able to have 60 songs in your heart that you can just play is pretty, and the band, pretty amazing stuff right there. I've heard that she is captivating when she's up there. I did hear some weird stuff recently about how people go to the show, and when they come out, that people have interviewed them and said, well, what songs did they play? And they can't remember any of the songs, which is sort of a phenomenon. I don't know. Which it's got kind of weird, right? And it might be because she plays so many songs that they forget. But
or they're being abducted by UFOs. Maybe this is a big conspiracy. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe she's an alien. And she's drawing these people in. They're being massive
alien. I mean, that would be the best looking alien ever. People would want to be abducted.
See, maybe we're onto something.
Maybe, but let me name off a few of these people that have been the Person of the Year. It used to be Man of the Year. Now it's Person of the Year. Going back a few years to 92, Bill Clinton. 93, it was the Peacemakers. So you had Yitzhak Rabin, who actually got assassinated, Nelson Mandela. You had Yasser Arafat. Wow, how did he get in there? And then there's this other guy, I can't even read his name. Pope John Paul II was in 94. Newt Gingrich, 95. David Ho. Whoa.
Oh, 96. Good God.
This
is where things got politicized.
He's an AIDS researcher. That David.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I thought it was this other. Yeah,
okay.
Another guy, Andrew Grove, in 97. Grove was the Intel co-founder. And then 98, it was Bill Clinton and Ken Starr. Remember the whole thing with Monica Lewinsky? How in the heck did they become?
How do they pair them together?
These things seem to go downhill fast. Jeff Bezos in 99. In 2000, it was George W. Bush. That says a lot to me right there, too. Rudy Giuliani was 2001. Of course, that was 9/11.
Oh, right.
Boy, how far he's fallen since then.
Right.
Then you got the whistleblowers of 2002. You got Cynthia Cooper of WorldCom. You got Colleen Raleigh of the FBI, and Sharon Watkins of Enron. That was the year all those at WorldCom and Enron went down.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened with the FBI that year. The American Soldier in 2003. Of course, we had the Iraq war going on. George Bush again in 2004. The Good Samaritans in 2005. Bill Gates, Bono, and Melinda Gates. Sorry,
it's going downhill at this point.
Yeah, this is all politicized. Remember, Adolf Hitler was Man of the Year in 1936. I don't know. Vladimir Putin in 2007.
Wow. Really?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Totally serious. I should share my screen so you can see the actual covers.
Most people are listening.
Barack Obama, 2008. Ben Bernanke, 2009. These are all people that have ruined America.
And first of all, what didn't Barack Obama get gifted? He got gifted every kind of thing that could be possible.
That's right.
I think that was the beginning of virtue signaling.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, 2010, another ruiner of America. The Protester in 2011. Oh my gosh, this is from the Arab Spring to Athens, from Occupy Wall Street to Moscow. The guy's wearing a mask on here. And it's like those are the persons of the person, and that this is where it changes to person of the year too. Let's see. Now, let me see what year it changed to person of the year, because let's see. It looks like it was in going. It's still 2004, 2002. Oh, it's going way back to person of the year. I can't even go back that far. Sorry. It's crazy. Man of the year. Last one was 1996, and that was David Ho. And then after that, it was all person of the year. Just finishing off here, just a couple. Barack Obama, we said the protesters. Barack Obama again in 2012. Pope Francis 2013. I'm sorry. Of all these people, it sounds like Taylor Swift might be the best person.
I'm good with that. So you had a bunch of stuff. Why don't you?
Yeah. Well, let's go back. Let's go to current events. We might as well here. Oh gosh, I don't.
Do you want to talk about those three college leads of the college institutions, the big ones?
Yeah, I actually didn't pull up an article on this or not at all, but I don't have their names in front of me, but it was I got it. Okay, go ahead.
But you go ahead and talk.
Oh well, I didn't. Of course, you can never watch all of these hearings because they're like 5 or 6 hours. So I only saw the highlights, and what I saw made me feel kind of sick.
I do, but I have conflicting feelings on it, and I'm just going to lay it out there really quickly. Is that, all of them, the three of them, that clearly were, in my opinion, hired based on DEI.
That's exactly where I was going with that. Yes.
So that's clear. But
that's
on
the part that made me feel bad.
Right. I totally get it. On the other hand, this is what is being politicized throughout this and other things in the news everywhere right now, including Nikki Haley and her latest dive of a presidential debate, is that they're talking about not condemning students that are pro-Hamas, protesting on college campuses. And as a free speech absolutist, I say they're allowed. They're allowed. I don't agree with them. I think that these people are horribly misinformed, but they're allowed to be horribly misinformed, and they need to be fed better information. And so even I would be seen as defending those three woke college administrators to some degree, only in the fact that because I believe in it absolutely as an absolutist in free speech. And that's a difficult thing for me to say, I might add.
Well, I agree with free speech. I think it's important that free speech is allowed to happen. And let's remember that nobody had a problem with free speech when we came up with the freedom of speech thing, back in the day with the founding fathers. Nobody had a problem with nice, flowery speech. Like we don't need laws to protect that because everybody likes that, right? So free speech is actually something to protect speech that people don't like. And I've always said this, that if a bunch of Nazis wanted to speak at the park
or the KKK,
about
you've said that too.
We love being not. Yeah, let's use the KKK because, by the way, Nazis don't like black people. But the KKK is out there. Okay, well, you can speak now. Can they make plans to kill all the black people there? I think that crosses a line right there.
Sure.
And I think it's sort of like yelling fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah.
It presents a public danger. I think that presents a public danger as well. But here's my problem, and why I don't think that you would be completely on their side is because you believe in free speech, and they clearly don't believe in that. Because what we've seen on each of their college campuses is that when somebody comes in with an opposing view to them, they cancel them. And that's my problem. Is
Okay,
that if you're
totally
gonna
got you there.
cancel these people, then you got to follow the line and cancel these people too, or open it up to everybody. And I'd rather
Follow
they
you there.
open it up to everybody.
That's a
Uh,
very good point.
because if free speech only works when you get to hear both sides of the story. If you only get to hear one side of the story, that's not free speech, that's propaganda. And I don't agree with propaganda. And I think you and I are speaking the same language here.
We are, and I totally
Mhm.
agree with you.
Yep, yep.
I totally agree with you.
We just
Well
solved,
said,
we
man.
solved a
Well
huge
done.
world problem right there.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well
All
done.
right. Let's because there's more to that, I think. Because we have these things going on right now, and there's other things that are in the news that seem to be dovetailing into that whole thing where we talked about the whole Twitter files and everything like that, and how the government was coming in to censor particular kinds of speech. It was always a politicized thing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what we're seeing is that conservative thought is constantly being shut down. Now you take a look at what you said earlier about the DEI stuff, and that's what made me feel sick, is that as a result of our government trying to interfere with the goings on between our society and our relationships, they're trying to tear apart, they're trying to disunify us, and they're using, look, our federal government heavily sponsors these universities. So the fact is that it's no coincidence that the three of them were the heads of those colleges, because they're totally supported by our runaway government that we have right now.
Not only them, but also foreign governments.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a globalist thing. It's not an American thing. This is a one world government where there are entities that are like a marionette doll trying to pull all the strings here. Yeah. And that's what made me sick about the whole thing. This is part of the whole thing that's connected to subjugating the world population, indoctrinating our kids, and what damage they've done to those prestigious universities like Harvard University, because now some kid from Harvard wanted to get a job at my company. The first thing I would think is, are you messed up like the rest of those Harvard people? I mean, your parents spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this education, and now if I want to bring you on, I think you're indoctrinated to not do any work, expect to get a handout, be a victim on everything, always being the sour grapes and the bad apple in the group, which is a weight on every company that is impossible to overcome if you get several of those people there. And we're paying for this with our tax dollars.
Oh my God, you are on fire tonight. What else you got? I mean, well, seriously, it was good.
Thank you. So here's something I wanted to play this for you, because I think this is very interesting as we take a look at how our government is being taken captive. And we've talked about this before, which is what's going on at the border. And Barry, I'm very concerned about this because I live very close to the border. And this week, a town called Lukeville, Arizona, which is 2.5 hours from my house, the fence has been breached. And last week, 17,000, just last week alone, in that one spot, 17,000 people were captured there. And we know that thousands and thousands more got away.
You know what? I just gotta interrupt you and say, I think this is probably the most important domestic issue that we have going, and the government takes advantage of the Israeli thing, the Ukraine thing, and whatever else, just to take away the attention on this blatant 3.5-year problem that we've had going on. Gigantic problem.
I agree, Barry. And we've had here in Arizona that last week, the 17,000 coming through. We still have an issue this week over there. I saw films of the people in these long lines of people that are coming across. All of them are men, no women, no children. They're all between the ages of 18 and 35. Many of them look like they're from Africa. They're not coming from Mexico, or even Central America. They're coming from all over the place. In California, just this week, there was a big slew of Chinese men who are well dressed, all of them carrying the same backpack. Obviously, they're sponsored by the CCP. This is an invasion that's happening. Mike Johnson this week said that they're putting together, of course, there's a big red alert that Ukraine's about to run out of American dollars, and this is going to be a big threat to Ukraine. And Mike Johnson says, well, look, there's going to be no more money because, look, Congress is in charge of the purse, right? So he's the Speaker of the House saying there's going to be no more financing Ukraine until we fix the border. But Biden has come back to say, I'm willing to do whatever it is. I see it's a problem at the border, but the Republicans are standing in my way. Well, Mike Johnson's the Speaker of the House, and he's in charge of the Republicans. How could the Republicans be standing in the way if Mike Johnson is saying that? He just wants to take that money and protect the Ukraine border and allow ours to be open. And by the way, I wonder how many people have come across the border that are enemies of this country that will open up a terror cell against us. And this is a crazy thing, but what's the end game on this? Well, New York City, I'm going to play you a tape here. I think this is going to be interesting.
Get the sound.
Let's see if I have this. I thought I had it. Oh yeah, I do have it queued up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share this. This is Mike Johnson talking about this problem. Let me see if I can. Whoops, wait, I didn't share the sound. I got to do it again. I even said
I just reminded you.
I know. That's why I probably forgot.
I said it like Trump. I just reminded you.
You just reminded me. Okay, share. Okay, so here we go. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but this has happened just recently in Congress. Let's see if we can hear it.
I just genuinely wanted to ask a question of my colleagues here, because both of you are here in good faith, and I respect you as individuals. And I wanted to ask you a question of what my constituents asked me. Could the Democrats in charge, and certainly Democrats here with jurisdiction over the border, could they really be in favor of an open border? And I'm asking you honestly and in good faith. Can I ask, Mr. Chairman, you're from New York. Thanks to New York City's council, beginning January 9th, 2023, more than 800,000 non-citizens will be eligible to vote in municipal elections in New York. Do you agree with that policy?
No, nor eligible.
Wear the mask.
Eligible
I know, right?
To vote in
and
New
a
York.
dumb one.
They never have been. Well, they were in the 19th century eligible to vote in New York.
Well, no, this is a recent.
What's he talking about?
No, that is not correct. Non-citizens have not been eligible to vote in New York, or as far as I know, in any other state since the 19th century.
That's not true. The New York City Council voted in December to allow this. It begins January 9, 2023. Cities in Vermont and Maryland already allow this, and similar measures are under consideration in Illinois.
This is so unconstitutional.
Right now.
If the gentleman will yield.
Yes.
I believe those are considerations of allowing votes in municipal elections only.
Right, but thank you. That's the point. Everybody wants to know at home, why would they allow this? Guys, they're allowing it because they're going to turn them into voters. They already are doing this in New York City, largest city in America, and this is the plan of our friends on this side to turn all the illegals into voters. That's it, folks. That's what's going on. That's the game. That's why the border's open. That's why they've dropped it. Look,
there you go.
Ms. Loughran and all her work in this arena. Yes,
this
I'll
is what Jerry says right
what you
here.
have to say about this.
As a New Yorker, I would love to think that New York is the entire country, but it is not.
It's California too.
And consideration is being given to permitting non-citizens to vote in New York, and I believe in the capital city of Vermont. I forget which that is. But it is.
Didn't his story change right there?
Yes.
He just said at the beginning, oh no, wiggle away. They're not allowed to vote. That's not happening. Then
God.
In state and local elections. So what did you mean when you said they weren't allowed to vote, and they haven't been able to do that since the 19th century?
Politics at its worst.
Oh, and the mask that he's wearing, and it's just he's making a mockery of America here. But this is the problem, Barry, is that we have our southern border has become a sieve, And the fact is they want to be able to change the game so that states like Arizona can no longer be the conservative state that the actual citizens.
Oh, I know.
They're stealing that from us. And in the meantime, there's all these other things that are going on to steal our liberties as well. New York has become a very crazy place. We know about all the things that are happening in New York City, but this is the actual state of New York has become another world. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is not trying to create quarantine camps. This is what the AP is talking about with this new rule that's happened, where Kathy Hochul is accused of trying to create quarantine camps in which people can be held against their will if they have COVID-19. This article goes on to say the facts, and they're saying that this isn't true. What they're saying is, she never said camps, quarantine camps. She just said that they could quarantine people against their will. And by the way, the rule actually says that they can quarantine you, they can give you a vaccination against your will, and that they are also able to give you experimental drugs against your will. And so the big thing the AP is coming back with is saying, oh, well, they're just not camps. They're going to be like houses or something like that. But this is what's happened. So just to go back in a little bit of history, what happened was this was a regulation in New York during COVID that they could take you. We saw what happened, all the debacle in New York, and they came up with this rule 2.13, which allowed the health department to take you and quarantine you. Well, this was challenged by Republican lawmakers and a conservative group from New York. So, Barry, at first, the regulation was challenged in court by a conservative group and also some legislators from New York. And a lower court actually said that this whole regulation that Kathy Hochul wanted to make permanent was unconstitutional. But Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, I almost said California because they're so identical, wanted to challenge this in the appeals court. And here's what they got to happen is that the appeals court came back and said that the challengers didn't have standing. So game back on. And so this is what's so ridiculous. We heard a lot of that standing stuff during the challenges to the election in 2020. But in this case, it's important to understand what they're saying. They're saying that New York legislatures do not have the right to challenge the executive branch for usurping their role in making laws. That's upside down. How is it that a legislature whose responsibility it is to make laws for New York, not the governor's responsibility, how is it that those people don't have standing? And how is it that a conservative group from New York who would be affected by this don't have standing? What does standing mean? Standing means that this isn't actually affecting them as citizens of New York, and therefore they have no business or no right to bring it to court. It's absolutely not true in this case, from what I can see. And also, it's really amazing, Barry, how corrupt our court system has become, where it seems like people like Kathy Hochul have their guy on the bench to say stuff like this.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
go ahead.
The fact is that with this law, and this will go to the next highest court. We'll hear about this, but it's going to go into effect. And the fact is that gives the state of California the right to come to your house, abduct you without due process, take you someplace, shoot you up with drugs against your will, and keep you there for an indefinite period of time. That sounds a lot like a concentration camp. It sounds a lot like what we've seen in the past. We actually had our camps here during World War II. We put Japanese people in intern camps, and the Supreme Court came back and said that's unconstitutional. And this is right along the same lines. American citizens, according to the Bill of Rights, have due process. And that means a court of law, like they actually get to defend their rights, not be taken away like that. That's un-American completely. So, Barry, I've got one more subject I want to bring to you and the audience right now, which we've talked about some things that, aren't so pleasant. But, keep hope alive here, because really, it does feel like sometimes there's nothing we can do about the situations around us. We're hopeless to these situations. But I just want to read an article here. And this is an opinion piece. It's called The Death of Woke Capitalism, but it is woke capitalism that's destroying our economy. We are seeing this left and right, but he goes into first.
Wait a minute, you're going to define woke capitalism? I hope.
No, we've seen what I actually have something playing in the background, so I'm going to try to get rid of that. So the article goes into, first off, Disney filing their SEC, filing their results for the year with the SEC. And they're saying, we face risks relating to misalignment with public and consumer tastes and preferences for entertainment and blah, blah, blah. It's, our environmental and social goals often differ widely and present risks to our reputation and brand's translation. We goofed when we went full woke, including skewing Florida's common sense laws, trying to indoctrinate these kids. Bottom line, their stock price is down 50% since 2001. And they're realizing they've lost $1 billion in their recent movies that they've done. And they're realizing that they can't put this on the public anymore and stay in business. Another one. Major League Baseball. Remember the whole Atlanta fiasco where they pulled the All-Star game out of Atlanta and they put it into Colorado? Funny thing about that had to do with the voting rights laws, which never changed. And then they put it into Colorado where you had 9% black people as opposed to 50% in Atlanta. It was a really weird thing. Well, Major League just announced that they're going to put the 2025 All-Star game in Atlanta again. Well, nothing's changed, which is signaling that the whole thing was a ruse and that this all was just a bunch of fake woke stuff to gin up people against other people. And they're realizing that they have done wrong. BlackRock.
You know what? Can it sounds like you're about to touch on that. Can I get back to the Disney thing, and let's just explore this just in a common sense way for a minute? Let me ask you something. So I certainly imagine that the large hedge funds are the biggest investors in Disney. So they pressure Disney to do all these things, which then result in 50% decline in their value. So then Disney decides to turn on their investors, apparently. That's where the question is. Why?
Interesting thing. And that's exactly where I'm going next is BlackRock, because you've got the head of BlackRock coming out to say, oh, we made a mistake on the ESG stuff. In fact, let me just read it. They're pulling back from its environmental, social, and governance agenda. According to journalists and sources, BlackRock's PR and marketing teams are scrambling to reorient the company's ESG strategy due to the backlash that they got. Here's another one. In August, S&P Global said it would stop rating securities based on S&G criteria. That's what ruined Budweiser, by the way. And Vanguard pulled out of the Global Climate Finance Alliance called the Net Zero Managers Initiative. These are the hedge funds, Vanguard and BlackRock. And they're realizing that what they've done is they've blown a ton of money and it's not sustainable for them. So here's another sporting news. National Hockey League announced a ban on players wearing activist jerseys on the ice. Thank God. I just want to watch sports when I watch sports. I don't want to watch politics. I'm trying to get away from politics when I watch sports, and that's what this has all become. The bottom line is this: if you can vote with your dollars. I realize our voting system is messed up right now, but one voting system that still seems to be working is the power of the purse. And if you are buying from a company that is doing these kinds of things, stop going to that company. Go to a different company. Stop watching. I stopped watching the NFL because of their wokeness, and that doesn't seem to have helped. But this is encouraging to me that we actually have power, and it still is because we still live in a capitalist society that we still have government of the people, by the people, and for the people in this way, and we can use this as a tool to fix America.
Well, I certainly agree with you. It is amazing to me that this woke movement has gotten as far as it has. And the only reason it did get this far is because it's been so financially infiltrated into everything. And when you got somebody that's paying you to do something, whether you're in a news organization or you're an entertainment organization, you're like, okay, I can curb things in your way a little bit as long as you keep giving us money. And then all of a sudden you lose 50% of your value. I just still find it kind of amazing that a company as big and as powerful as Disney would have to wait until they lost 50% of their value before what happened there? Did they say, screw you, BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard? Or did they say
other way around? This is what happened. And from what I can see, Barry, is
go ahead.
The BlackRocks, the Vanguards, the State Streets of the world, although they have, between those three, they have $22 trillion in assets.
I know. Yeah.
But that's still a finite amount of money. And what they've done is they've been sustaining these companies with their money instead of through revenues and profits coming into those companies. We've seen this in particular in media companies. Remember, Disney isn't Disney World or Disneyland. Disney is a major multi-billion-dollar media corporation, and they own all kinds of telecom and social media and media outlets that are used as propaganda now across the world. They're completely owned by the globalists who hide their money in the hedge funds like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, and then use their influence to control those companies to draw our world into a place where we can be completely subjugated. That costs money for them. And when they see a 50% revenue loss from Disney, they're not thinking, oh my gosh, we got to save this company. They're thinking, we got to keep this company afloat so we can keep on influencing the world to get to this point. And if we have to back off from ESG for a while to make sure that we stay in the game, that's what we're going to do. They're not changing their stripes. They're not changing their stripes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I follow you.
What they're doing is they realize they've been exposed and that people are on to them because the revenue is drying up, and they're like, we got to come up with a new strategy. So get ready for the new strategy, which will be a trick, but we'll talk about it on this show.
Good. All right. Anything good going on for the weekend? We got it. We're on the down low, and I'm happy about that. What do you got going on?
Well, I got my parents in town for the next couple of weeks, and we plan on getting together with them this weekend. They live right down the road. I love having them right down the street. I wish they lived here. The other day, I had a big appointment, and on the way home, I got to stop in at their place and have, they love coffee too. We had coffee together. It was great. And it's just like, what a treat that was, you know? And I so wish they lived here all the time, but I'm enjoying that. My kids are going to be here next Thursday and Friday.
Just interject. Get back to your kids in a second. I have to say, I know that you wish that they lived there, but the fact that you have both your mother and your stepfather available when you have them is a blessing.
It's a huge blessing.
It's a huge blessing.
Yes, it is. I totally agree, and I'm soaking up the blessings right now. The kids are coming next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we're all going to be together for that. They're coming out specifically to see Mom and Larry, and
Are you going to
it's
do
just gonna be
Christmas
great.
at that
We're going to
time?
do Christmas at that
Okay.
time, and
Okay.
rather than ship everything out, we're
Uh-huh.
all going to be together. So we're going to make that happen, and then
Man,
you
awesome.
know that's our deal. So we're gonna. It's supposed to be a nice weekend. I hope to get on the motorcycle again. We'll see what happens. But
Dude, you
how
got a
about you?
great December going on. No,
Oh man, it's wonderful.
yeah, we're purposely trying to lay low for a while until Christmas, and then we'll have the Christmas through New Year's festivities and all good. So yeah, like I said, I'm not kidding you. I like being able to work in relative quiet time during
like that
December
too.
because I
Yeah.
enjoy my work. So
I like it when it's like this too. I enjoy what I do. One of my favorite things to do rather than planning is actually getting out there in the field and being in front of people and everything. I was on an appointment on Monday, and it felt so good to be out there and everything. And I just love it. So
No,
I feel very blessed that I get to do things that I actually love to do, and not everybody gets it.
No, that's a fact. And I got Charlie is chewing on my foot. I really gotta go.
All right, it's time then. Tell them how they can give them the details here and how.
Yeah. Hey guys, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and share and subscribe. And if most important, I say, go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe and give us a 5-star, 5 Apple, whatever it is, rating. But you can always just go to over50startingover.com and sign up to our email list right there. Get all of this stuff right to your email box as it happens.
Yeah, do that. That makes it so easy. Then you don't have to look for us. Yeah, and give us those comments too, because we live for those. Please.
We do. All right, Merle. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great episode as always. I like it. It feels very holiday-ish, and I really had a good time. And
Me
I can't
too,
wait
Barry, always.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Love you.